We recently learned how to work with exponents when we're multiplying and dividing and adding and subtracting. Now we're going to get a little more complex. So we're going to multiply fractions, and don't get freaked out by fractions. It's not a big deal. It's just division with exponents. So just a reminder, when you divide numbers that have exponents or variables that have exponents, remember you subtract your exponents. When you multiply anything that has exponents, then you add your exponents. So let's look at this complex problem here. So we have example 1, we have 2a squared, b to the 4th, c to the negative 3rd, and d to the 4th all over 6a, b to the 6th, and c to the 4th times 6ab to the 3rd, c to the 5th, and d all over 3b squared, c to the 4th, d to the 5th. Now this looks huge, but let's break it down into simple problems. Let's just look at our 2 and 6 and our 6 and 3. So remember, in multiplication with fractions, you can do cross-canceling. You can go, okay, well, are there numbers that go into both of these? And if you look across here, you have a 6 and a 6. 6 goes into both of those one time. So you can put a 1 there and a 1 there. And the 2 and the 3, they don't do anything, so we're just going to leave those. Now, let's look at, you can do it all together, multiply it across the whole thing, or you can just start dividing on each side, but I like to multiply all the way across and get a big number and then start simplifying. So I'm going to do 2 times 1 over here. I put the 2. I'm going to work with the numerator first. I have 2 a's here and I have another a here, so that means I have a to the 3rd. Then I have b to the 4th and I have a b to the 3rd, so that's 4 plus 3, so b to the 7th. And then I have a c to the negative 3rd and a c to the 5th. So remember, when you're multiplying, you add your exponents. So you have 5 plus negative 3, which would give you 2. So I have c to the 2nd. Then I have d to the 4th and another d, so that's d to the 5th. Now let's simplify the denominator a little bit. I have a 1 and a 3, so 1 times 3 is 3. I have an a. No a's over here, so I'm just going to put 1a. I have 6 b's and 2 b's over here, so that means I have 8 b's altogether. And then I have c to the 4th and c to the 4th, so that means I have c to the 8th. Then I have no d here, but I have a d here, so I'm going to put my d to the 5th here. Okay, so now let's do our division part of it. So 2/3, if you were to divide it, is not going to give you a whole number. So let's just leave it as 2/3. So I'm going to go like that and put a line. So I did my 2/3. Now I have 3 a's on top and 1 on bottom. So remember, you subtract 3 minus 1. So you have a to the 2nd. That's positive, so I'm going to put it up top. So I did my a's. Now I have b to the 7th and b to the 8th. So you do 7 minus 8. That's going to be b to the negative 1. So that means it goes on the bottom. Then I have c to the 2nd and c to the 8th. So 2 minus 8 is negative 6. So that means that I'm going to have a c to the 6th on the bottom because it was negative. And then I have d to the 5th and d to the 5th. And 5 minus 5 is 0. And remember, anything to the 0 power is just 1. So those cancel out. So my final answer is 2a to the 2nd all over 3bc to the 6th. The way you can figure out if, hey, am I done, is to see, do I have any a's on both the top and the bottom? If you do, you need to go back and figure out what you did, or b's or c's. You just have to make sure that they're either on the top or the bottom. Okay, let's look at one more problem. Okay, so we have in parentheses 3a squared b to the 4th, and that whole thing is going to be squared. And it's all over 2a to the 3rd, b to the 3rd. The whole thing is going to be cubed, or to the 3rd power. Then I have 2ab. Then I have 3ab, but it's all to the negative 2nd power. So first thing I want to do before I multiply across, I want to get rid of these exponents on the outside of the parentheses. So I need to apply it to this one, and to this one. So 3 to the 2nd power is 9. And then I have a to the 2nd power, but then I want it 2 times, so that's going to be a to the 4th power Then I have b to the 4th, but I have 2 sets of those, so it's going to be b to the 8th power. So let's do the same thing to the bottom. So I have 2 to the 3rd power, that's 2 times 2 times 2, which comes out to be 8. Then I have 3 sets of a to the 3rd, so I'm going to have a to the 9th. And then I have 3 sets of b to the 3rd, so I have b to the 9th. I don't need to do anything with my 2ab, so I'm going to leave it there. Now here's the problem. I have this negative squared thing here. So if it's a negative, that means that this whole thing is going to pop up to the top. So I'm going to go like this. I'm just going to add it onto this side. And I'm going to do 3 squared, which is 9, a squared, b squared. If it moves to the top, you just have 1s on the bottom. All right, now let's multiply straight across. So I do 9 times 2 is 18, and then 18 times 9, I need to do that over here, is 162. So on top I'm going to have a 162. I have 4 a's here, I have 1 here, and I have 2 here. So 4 plus 1 plus 2 is 7. So I have a to the 7th. Then I have 8 b's, another b, that's b to the 9th, and then another 2, so b to the 11th. On the bottom, I have 8 times 1 times 1, which is 8. I have 9 a's, so I'm going to go 9 a to the 9th, and 9 b's, b to the 9th. Now I need to simplify it even further. So I need to make sure that if 8 can go into that evenly, I would divide it. But 8 doesn't go into that evenly. So now we're just going to see, is there a greatest common factor that goes into 8 and 162? And off the top of my head, I'm thinking that 2 can go into those. So 2 goes into that 4 times, and 2 goes into that 81 times. And you can't go any further with that. So you have 81 over 4. Now I have 7 a's on top and 9 on bottom. When I subtract those, I get a to the negative 2nd. So that means I'm going to have my a to the 2nd on the bottom. So I did my a's. Now I have b to the 11th and b to the 9th. Subtract your exponents so you have b to the 2nd. And now you're completely simplified. So you took this big, huge thing up here and you simplified it into this. Okay, we'll work on it tomorrow.